Two and a Half Men, weeknights at 6 and 6:30 on Fox 49. Fox 49 News, North Florida and South Georgia's only local news at 10 p.m. starts now.
Next at 10, the power of social media, how a viral video leads to the surprise of a lifetime for one Quincy family. Plus,
stalkers beware. You could soon face jail time for disclosing the location of a domestic violence center. I'm Mike Vasilinda in the state capitol with that story coming up.
But first, next in line, local vaccination signs are seeing a boost in foot traffic. This after Governor DeSantis expands eligibility criteria. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10, everybody. I'm Abby Walton. People 60 and older can now get a vaccine in Florida. The governor says he hopes to continue to lower the age in 5-year increments. Monica Casey visited the Lawson Center vaccine site today and has more.
Right now, I feel good. Feel good.
Charles Pelham Jr., a FAMU grad, coming home to the Lawson Center to get his first shot.
Nice and easy. You have nothing to worry about. They're taken care of.
As soon as I found out last week that they were opening up, I said, okay, today is the day.
Michelle Herndon has been anxiously waiting for her shot. With 2 daughters in the medical field, Herndon is the last one in her family to be vaccinated.
My youngest daughter, I haven't seen her in over a year, and my daughter in Tampa, I saw her just for a few days in November. And before that, it was a whole year.
Florida House Representative Scott Plakin turned 62 this weekend, celebrating by getting his first shot.
I feel great, and yeah, I got down here at 11 o'clock, the first day of eligibility, because I ran the math, and getting the vaccine, there's a very, very small chance of any type of adverse reaction. Not getting the vaccine, there's a chance you could die.
All 3 say the more people who get vaccinated, the better.
That's the way we're going to get back to normal, as close to normal as possible. So please go get vaccinated.
Educate yourself and then make the best decision for you.
that was Monica Casey reporting. The Lawson Center at FAMU is a walk-up site. It does not require an appointment. However, if you'd like, you can make an appointment through Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. Meanwhile, in Georgia, people 55 years and older can get vaccinations starting today. Also, those with certain medical conditions like cancer and diabetes are also now eligible. Right now, Georgia has one of the lowest vaccination rates in the country at 16%. Leading states are at nearly 30%. As of the latest update, Florida is sitting at 20%. Covering Leon County, air traffic numbers are flying high. Over the weekend, TSA reported its highest travel numbers since last March, with more than 2.5 million travelers between Saturday and Sunday. In Tallahassee, numbers are also starting to go up. Staff attribute that to spring break and the legislative session. As more people get the vaccine, TLH staff say they expect that increase to continue.
We anticipate that, still we'll have that slow recovery. We are excited to announce that in April, American Airlines is recommencing their direct service to DCA up to Washington, D.C.
CDC safety measures are still in place, like extra sanitation efforts and social distancing. Federal mask requirements are also still in effect, extending until May 11th. Staying in Florida, the state's economy is showing some improvement. In January, Florida's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate was 4.8%. That's up just 1.5% from a year ago. Now, during that same time frame, the U.S. unemployment rate was 6.3%. The DEO's chief economist says the 1-point drop in the revised rate is the biggest revision in more than a year.
Jobs are continuing to be added back into our economy, and people are going back into work. So we are seeing people going back into employment status.
In January, there were 482,000 jobless Floridians out of a labor force of more than 10 million. Florida's unemployment numbers will be released later this month. Staying in Florida, at any given time, an abuser could be stalking someone who has sought refuge in a domestic violence center. But under Florida law, there's nothing law enforcement can do to stop the harassment. However, as Mike Vasilinda tells us, new legislation may soon give them a tool to take action.
Florida is one of 19 states that require the location of domestic violence shelters to be confidential, but it's also one of 11 states that don't have any penalties for disclosing that information unless you're a shelter employee.
We've had continuous problems over the years with abusers or their friends or their family finding out where the shelter is located and then essentially stalking the victims outside of the shelter, waiting on them to leave.
But legislation would make it a misdemeanor for disclosing where a shelter's located. A second offense would be a felony.
And they stalked one of the staffers who worked at the domestic violence center, followed them to their very next car, and was demanding information about the victim. This particular staffer was so just horrified about the entire incident that she actually quit. And
the legislation's already gotten tentative approval in the state Senate, and a final vote could take place later this week or next. Reporting from the state capitol, I'm Mike Vasilinda.
A second bill would also take the names of people who work in shelters out of the public record to prevent staff from being stalked. In South Georgia now, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is identifying the man who was shot and killed by a Lowndes County deputy last Friday. The GBI confirming that man was 43-year-old Raymond Whitfield Tarbox II. Investigators say deputies were attempting to serve a court pickup order when the incident occurred. They say Tarbox resisted the deputies and became combative while carrying a butcher knife, causing a deputy to shoot him. The case remains under investigation. In Gaston County, a Quincy family receiving a big surprise today with their new home fully furnished by the community. High school classmates Tina Coombs and Yolanda Oliver reconnecting after 30 years when Oliver was looking to buy a home. Now, the process wasn't easy, but they never gave up hope. Jaclyn Harold has the story.
You guys need to start packing because you got a house.
She did it!
Some might call it luck, but to Yolanda Oliver and her realtor, Tina Coombs, it's a blessing.
When they pulled up, we were able to walk into a fully furnished house.
30 years after high school, Coombs and her classmate reunited during Yolanda's search for a home. When Oliver was denied, she says faith kept her believing. Oliver and her family were finally approved for a home of their own.
And so God has truly blessed me.
The news moving thousands of followers on TikTok to bless the family even further.
Everybody came and we washed the walls and then people, we just started finding, went out and bought stuff. People were Venmoing going, hey, I want to add to this, and so we were able to buy everything brand new.
The Big Fish real estate crew worked over the weekend, cleaning and decorating the home, presenting the fully furnished 3-bedroom house to Yolanda and her family Monday morning. A miracle that Oliver says proves that prayer works.
I was just very surprised, and it blew my mind. And I know this is not all God got for me.
That's Jaclyn Harold reporting. Coombs says the surveying for the home, along with some of the outside touches, were all done at no cost as a gift to the family. They also received a brand new washer and dryer. Still to come on Fox 49 News at 10, a record $27 million settlement with George Floyd's family as jury selection is ongoing. Why the judge was not happy and the defense says they're gravely concerned. First, we want to send things out to the weather deck, and that's where we find Chief Meteorologist Mike McCall on this Monday night. Hi, Mike.
Hi there, Abby, and a mild night. Temperature is mostly in the mid to upper 60s at this hour. Well, milder air this time of year at night sometimes leads to some rainfall, and eventually sun is coming back our way. We'll talk about the prospects when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. And as I mentioned a moment ago, a very mild evening out here on the weather deck. Now, we do have some cooler air coming back. The end of the week, by Thursday night, you're going to start to feel it, and Friday night and Saturday nights, those should be nice and cool. So if you're on spring break this week, there is a little hiccup in the middle with a good chance for some showers and a few thunderstorms, mainly the first half of Thursday. We'll talk more about that and a couple other smaller chances in a moment. Today did see a little more high cloud cover. It was enough to shield the sun a little more than we've seen lately, but we still had lots of upper 70s to low 80s, and you can see it just goes back to a partly cloudy sky this evening. No rainfall around our area today, but can't rule out a stray shower or even a couple of showers tomorrow, especially over the western, say, third of the area. Tonight, it's just some of these high clouds. Now, these may be just enough to keep some of the fog development away. Typically, you want to have those clear skies to see the fog development, but I think there'll be enough of those breaks to develop that we'll still have some patchy, dense fog. So watch out for that. As far as the next system goes, it's not there yet. Now, you see this line of showers way out to our west, but notice these red arrows indicating these winds up around 18,000 feet. See how they're still coming in from the southwest? That's not going to allow any kind of a front to get close enough to us to give us the showers or thunderstorms, but it will change as we go through Wednesday into Thursday, and then brings us into a cooler, drier pattern after that. We started out the day with some patchy fog and temperatures in the 50s, but this afternoon, delightful stuff again. Yeah, I know lots of pollen, but also a fair amount of sunshine, and almost everybody hitting 80 degrees, if not warmer. Blakely's thermometer obviously having some problems, but you'll notice the warmest temps were basically over eastern sections, and that's where the southerly wind is still coming from land, and the overall pattern looks to be very similar tomorrow with those kind of temps. Right now, still 64 Thomasville, 68 Tallahassee, still 69 in Valdosta. Humidity's not as high, though, so that's the trade-off. But I still think that with these 60s that we have right now, and with the winds continuing to get lighter and lighter, we're going to have some patchy fog around. The futurecast visibility still shows that many areas, especially over the western half of the region, dipping down to maybe a quarter mile or less of visibility at times. So just watch out for some of that patchy, dense fog in the morning. Then in the afternoon, we go from the near 60-degree temperatures then to those upper 70s to low 80s. Again, we'll call it an average of about 81, a little bit higher than that over eastern sections, a little lower right in the middle just because of that wind coming in off of the Gulf of Mexico. But notice all those 80s along the Gulf Coast. Kind of a pretty good setup, unfortunately, for the possibility for some strong to severe storms. Now, we had one big area of low pressure that brought the impressive amounts of snowfall through the Rockies. That's moving up through the upper Midwest and thankfully weakening. Had some severe weather with that. But now this next system coming through California, Nevada, and into Arizona, that's the one that'll be generating another squall line by the time we get to Wednesday, especially just to our west. Watching the futurecast as we go from a couple of showers around tomorrow, and then it just goes back to partly cloudy skies, maybe a few showers at most on Wednesday, but that line of storms that you see coming through Louisiana and into Mississippi, that's squarely in that area from the Storm Prediction Center where there's an enhanced risk for severe storms. That's fairly high, and that's for Wednesday. Still think all that's going to stay well to our west, but by Thursday morning, we could be talking about maybe some isolated severe storms, possibility of an isolated tornado or some damaging winds. But in the meantime, tomorrow, again, isolated showers, a little better chance over the western parts of the area. And even on Wednesday, I've got a few showers in there. The models don't show as much now, but Thursday still looks like the best chance of rain. Winds tomorrow will be from the south, still 8 to 15 knots. The Gulf Sea's 2 to 4 feet. Tonight, just mild. Overnight lows near 60. Just watch out for some of that patchy fog developing, then topping out near 80, if not slightly above inland, with some low 70s at the coast. A couple of showers around the next few days, but then an 80% chance for some showers and storms Thursday before it does turn cooler. Weekend highs in the 60s to around 70 after morning lows in the 40s.
It's Halloween.
No!
Got me. On the next Modern Family.
Tonight at 10:30 p.m. on Fox 49.
And national news tonight, 9 jurors have been seated in the trial of Derek Chauvin. He's the former Minneapolis police officer charged in the death of George Floyd. This is the second week of jury selection gets underway. But as Matt Finn reports, questions are now being raised as to whether or not a $27 million settlement between the family and the city could hinder the trial.
The attorney defending Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged in George Floyd's death, says he's gravely concerned last week's announcement of a $27 million settlement between the city of Minneapolis and Floyd's family makes it impossible for his client to get a fair trial and possibly taints the jury pool.
The fact that this came in the exact middle of jury selection, it's perplexing to me, Your Honor.
Defense attorney Eric Nelson also asked the judge to delay the trial and raise the possibility of a change of venue.
And I wish people would, city officials would stop talking about this case so much, but at the same time, I don't find any evil intent that they are trying to tamper with this criminal case.
The judge says he'll recall the 7 selected jurors last week and question them about their knowledge of the settlement, even though he ordered them not to follow or do any research on the case. Prosecutor Steve Schleicher says those previously picked jurors already agreed to make their decisions in the case based solely on what they're hearing during the trial. Meanwhile, week 2 of jury selection got underway. The first juror questioned said she heard about that $27 million settlement.
When I heard that, I almost gasped the amount.
That potential juror told the court she did not know if she could ignore what she heard and was immediately excused. In Minneapolis, Matt Finn, Fox News.
And there's been a series of unusual developments in this case, but the judge is insisting opening arguments will begin March 29th. And coming up on the 10.
Have you changed addresses during the pandemic? You're not alone. I'm Lydia Hu with the Fox Business Network. More coming up.
A trip to the grocery store may actually be good for your mental health. Lydia Hu has that story and more in tonight's Fox Means Business Report.
Looks like the pandemic had Americans on the move. According to a new survey from Bankrate.com, 16% of adults moved permanently or relocated for an extended period during the COVID outbreak. Parents with kids under 18 were the most likely to move, and being closer to family and friends, one of the main drivers. Speaking of drivers, still no relief at the pump. The national average for regular unleaded gas up for 43 straight days, the longest streak we've seen since last summer. A gallon now at $2.86, and that's around 60 cents higher from the same time last year. To Wall Street and a record-setting Monday, the Dow closing at its 14th all-time high so far this year. And who knew fruits and veggies could be so good for the body and the mind? According to a survey from marketing firm NC Solutions, 4 out of 10 Americans say they visit the grocery store in order to get out of the house and feel more normal. That's business. I'm Lydia Hu.
Finally tonight, a pop-up preschool is happening this week in the Bond and South City communities. Whole Child Leon and other nonprofits are coming together to make sure none of Tallahassee's youngest citizens are being left behind. For 2 hours each morning, children can paint, play, and learn together. Leaders say the first 5 years are crucial for literacy rates, emotional awareness, and kindergarten readiness. I wish you could see all the beautiful paintings that the kids created today, Mike. They were very colorful.
Well, and you know, school, when you're in pre-K and in kindergarten and really elementary school, it's just fun. Yeah. You know, the kids don't even realize how much they're learning because it's just fun. At least it was for me. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all the artistic talents and how happy those kids definitely are. Hey, weather-wise, of course, a lot of students may be on spring break, and if not, you've still got a pretty good week. There is one little area of some showers and storms, especially about Thursday we'll be talking about. But tonight, it's just some clouds and mild temperatures, still in the 60s across much of the area. There is a slight chance of showers tomorrow, especially over the western parts of the area, but highs still up near 80.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you right back here tomorrow.